Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Jason, I really want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We have a mutual friend by the name of Hope, and she had said, she came on your your mobile hair cutting amazing studio that you built out, and I was talking to her about it because she knows that I have a podcast, and I was like, "Is there any chance that you could introduce me to him?" And she was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so when I met you or when I reached out to you for the first time, you were just, you were so gracious and kind. And I appreciate that. And that was like a month and a half ago.
Well, thanks for reaching out. Thanks for having me. I'm all about carrying this message. And so, especially with what's going on right now in the world, any kind of positivity or anything I can do to stay busy and to carry this message is a blessing, and just grateful to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. For the people listening right now, do you mind just kind of doing a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Jason Schneidman. I've created a brand called The Men's Groomer, and that's because I do men's grooming. I grew up in Southern California, and I started doing hair at 14. Just had a clippers, was cutting all my friends' hair, and then barely graduated high school. And I'll go ahead.
No, that's no. You're doing great. And so then when you were 14 years old, growing up, you said in Southern California, correct?
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, being 14 years old, did you even have any desire to you cut hair? Were you just doing it for fun? What was going on at that time?
Just a reckless youth, just crazy, fearless, and just cutting all my homies' hair. Grew up by the beach, and we were changing with the tides, and I was just hooking people up with styles.
I love that. Who would have thought all these years later, at 14 years old with a pair of, shears, what it would have become. To talk a little bit briefly about, you were talking about the men's groomer. Once again, for the people listening, can you kind of explain what that is?
Yeah, about 10 years ago, Chris Cornell, rest in peace, asked me to do a photo shoot for an album, and the production company wouldn't hire a hairstylist to do it. You have to do both for men. And that's when I first heard the phrase men's grooming. So you had to do hair and makeup. So I was like, wow, men's grooming, that's what it's called now. And I started this brand and searched all across the board, and the men's groomer was open, and I just branded it and took off to the races there.
I love that. I love how a little small idea can always, it can blossom into something, so big and beautiful. Kind of getting back to your story, because I know that you have an amazing story. 14 years old, getting into hair, was it easy for you, growing up in SoCal and, going through everything that you were?
Best childhood ever. All I cared about was surfing, partying, and getting laid, and that's all I did for 30 years. I always say I took my retirement my first 30 years of my life. Since then, the wheels fell off. I had a huge crack addiction, and I was on the streets, and I had to get sober, and I did. And then I started working, and I've been working my ass off for the last 16 years in sobriety and doing hair. And I got this great big life, real quick, 34 years old, I had nothing. I had warrants for my arrest, bad credit. In this last 16 years, got married, got kids, bought a house, and it's all because of sobriety.
It's incredible, man. I commend you on so many levels. I understand what addiction is like. I talk about it all the time on the podcast, because it is a huge thing, and people don't understand unless you're going through it, or you have family members that have someone that they know dearly, or friends. But it takes a huge toll on the individual's life. I was hooked to opiates, and for a decade, going through probably a lot of the same shit that you definitely were going through as well. What was it at that point? You're like, all right, enough's enough. I'm 34 years old, bad credit, all this shit piling up. What was the breaking point?
Well, like you said, it's like enough's enough. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, it started off as a party. And then before you know it, it's just to survive. And you start doing really scandalous, stupid, scary, lonely stuff,
Yes.
And then it's like a lot of people don't make it out. I'm super grateful, you know, that I found a program and a spiritual connection, which helped me get out. And, you know, my gut and my heart told me I had so much more to offer myself, my family, and life. And luckily
Yes.
I grasped for it like the drowning grasp for a life preserver.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what was there an individual, because you were talking about, a program, and for, people listening, are you talking about AA or NA or?
So I got help in 22404. A fellow hairstylist, Chris McMillan, helped me, and he took me to a treatment center, and I followed the programs that are offered here in LA. And yeah, it's a spiritual connection, a spiritual program, and I
Okay.
suggest anybody getting help. And that's the first part, is admitting and accepting that you have a problem. And then at that
Yeah,
point, that's when the healing process begins.
absolutely. I'm reading Nikki Sixx's book, The Heroin Diaries, right now. I'm almost done with it, and the stories that he shares, although they're at a different level of success and money and all that, it's a very similar story. It doesn't matter what level, fame, no fame, money, no money. It is a very lonely place. And
Yeah.
addiction is real, and especially now more than ever, with fentanyl and things of that nature. It's just it's very sad. And so I commend you, to be able to, at 34 years old, when a lot of people would think that it's too late, you turned your life around. And within 16 years, you have a growing business, you have a family, you bought your own house. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's the message. It's never too late. I don't care if you're 50, 60, you can do this. And
Yeah.
it's amazing the transformations that happen over a period of time. Like the first year I saw some transformation, second year, 5 years. And now at
Yeah.
16, like it's just, you know, you show up one day at a time and amazing things happen. And I think that's the most important thing to share with anybody that's listening. Like, it's not too late.
Yeah, it's so true. It's never too late, and understand that, and you are a true testament to that. Um, and so is that what kind of led you down the road of haircuts for the homeless? Because when I started following you and seeing your work, and saw what you were doing for the homeless community, was it from the past addiction and things that you went through that really influenced that?
Yeah, so 100%. I was clueless in my addiction, but I was taught in recovery that you have to give it away to keep it, and being of
Yes.
service is the key. And doing esteemable acts is what gives me self-esteem, and that keeps me from feeling like a complete fucking turd, to where I
Yes.
don't have to drink and use. So what
Yeah.
basically I'm doing is, throughout the day, if I'm not thinking about myself, I'm thinking about others. I don't realize that I'm feeling good because I'm not thinking about myself. See, it's this disease of alcoholism is a selfish, self-centered disease. It's constantly pour me, pour me, pour me a drink. It's like,
Yes.
and so if you're constantly thinking about yourself, yeah, eventually you're going to be like, God, I want to fucking shut this head off. But if you're
It's
thinking
true.
about others, before you know it, the day's over. And at the end of the night, I'm sleeping with a smile.
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. And you said a key word in there, disease. A lot of people that don't fully understand addiction, they just think it's something that's, oh, just, one day it's here and then one day it's gone. And as you and I both know, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's truly a mental disease. Can you elaborate a little bit on that for the people listening?
Yeah, I mean, my foundation, I was in rehab at 34 years old for 1 year. I stayed there. And the reason why at 34 I stayed there for a year is because from 30 to 34, I went in and out of treatment centers. Okay. And I would put together 60 days and I'd be like, I got this. And then I'd go back to my old life with my old behavior, and I'd end up slipping and using again. And I would end up exactly right where I was. So at 34, I really just threw my hands down. I was like, you know what? Show me how to do this. Show me how to live life on life's terms without drugs and show me how to be a different person, a different man. And I'll shut up after this, but it's like the way to look at it is you don't go to the gym and get muscles, in a week, even though you feel like you do, you actually feel like you do. I go in there and work out once and I'm like flexing in the mirror, looking over at people going, oh, but dude, a lot different after, 6 months of working out than it is 6 days.
110%. 110%. After that year that you went to rehab, do you remember the feeling when you walked out? What was that like?
Oh, what an accomplishment. So this place that I went to was called Liberty House, and it was behavior modification. So we had to write essays. We weren't allowed to get laid and date for six months. And you had to gain, the rope that they would give you to hang yourself, over a period of time, and they would see what you would do with it. And at the end, there was a graduation, and I graduated, and I'll tell you that this was like graduation from college for me, because I didn't go to college. I was just a fuck
Me neither.
off. Yeah, so it was I'll never forget that feeling, all that hard work that I did in a year. And it was, what it basically was, this structure was a fellowship, there was no isolation. And these are the things that really fuck up addicts, is like isolating, not being connected, not identifying with other people. So I identified with my fellows. I was in this house with 20 other addicts and alcoholics, and we would just pull each other's covers. If we saw somebody's behavior being shitty, we'd be like, yo, look at Brock, he's doing this again. Yeah. Oh, and then we'd all run a group, and Brock, you'd sit in the hot seat right in the middle of the room, and we would just pull your covers.
Yes. I love that. It's picking each other up by the bootstraps, man, having support for one another. And you said when you graduated, after that first year, when you were able to leave, or when you left, it was like graduating college, right? Although I've never graduated college, graduated cosmetology school, and that was an amazing experience. But what you went through, and I remember after my first year, what that felt like, it's an accomplishment like none other. And for the people listening, in individuals that are going through this, having addiction of whatever sort, just hearing your story and kind of relating, it paints a bigger picture that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. If you want it bad enough, anything is possible. And having a good support team, right? Just like you had, going through rehab, right? After that year, what was next? How did you get back into the hair industry? Were you cutting hair through it? Like, what was that story?
So, what came to mind when you were talking about anything being possible if you work at it. So, you heard of the 10,000 hour rule? You do
Absolutely.
anything. Yeah. So I did sobriety like that. But before that, I've done everything like that. And when I surfed from 12 to 20, I became a good surfer because I spent all my time in the water. When I started working on sobriety, look at what's happening in my sobriety,
Yes.
Same thing with hair cutting for me. Like, I started cutting hair at 14 to get a dime bag and a pack of cigarettes, and then I ended up getting paid, 10 grand to travel to do a haircut in, Berlin. You know what I mean? So it's if you do something, I'm not trying to preach about that. I'm going to tell you, answer your question.
No. Keep it. Go.
So to answer your question, after I got done, I had both feet in the boat. I showed up to work. I was early, being early is on time. I opened up doors. I looked people in the eye. I smiled. I stayed positive, and I asked people how they're doing every day. And it doesn't come natural. It's called contrary action for somebody who's selfish and self-centered like myself, to have to work at it and be like, oh, I'm talking about myself. And then the like dinger goes off, ding, ding. Like, there you go again. It's all about you. Yep. And then you're like, so how you been? How's the family? And by doing that and being present and being of service, can I get you something to drink? You know, all of that stuff on a daily basis, I became a better dude, and people wanted to support me, and people showed up and they wanted to get their hair cut. And, you know, the hair cutting skills were there because I did it forever. And you know, I have a passion to, you know, create styles and shapes. And, you know, to me, it's a dance and a sculpting, you know, and I just love what I do. So, and then I get to make people feel good, which is just the double-edged sword.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I see the way your face lights up when you talk about it, man. I totally, totally get it. 10,000 hours though, getting back to that, it is so true. There's this little quote in a Macklemore song called 10,000 Hours, and it goes, the greats weren't great because at birth they could paint. The greats were great because they paint a lot, right? And it's nothing in life, you know, always comes super easy. Some less, some more for people, but it is that hard work, determination, motivation that you put into it. And so after you got out that year, I mean, you really hit the ground running. Showing up late, showing up early is being on time. You know, my wife, she's a union makeup artist, right? She's always showing up 30, 20, 50 minutes, you know, myself it's as well, but it's so important. Once you started, after that year, what was the chapter of your life look like? Because within 15, 16 years, things have changed. You went from the bottom of the bottom to now. I mean, you know, look at yourself. So what were some of the things that came next?
Oh, I mean, I had friends that were like, dude, one day you're gonna do something. And I was like, I always had that in my mind. And it's crazy. When I met Chris McMillan, you know, and I asked for help, he brought me to rehab, that rehab. He went through the same place. But I just showed up there and showed up, you know, every day. And, you know, you know, it's weird because you got to stay out of the results. You know, that's what I did. I stayed out of the results, and I just was showing up one day at a time, and all this stuff happened, you know, and grateful along the way. Like when I first got a call that I was going to cut Hugh Jackman's hair because Chris got sick, and I went straight from Coachella, and they flew me on a plane to get him ready for an interview for X-Men. And I was like, oh my God, like all the way through this journey, it's never I've never became numb to it. I'm like, oh my God, I just got a call from Dustin Hoffman. Oh my God, Jonah Hill. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's just over and over, you know, just all of my favorite people that I watched growing up and listened to over the years. Like, I got to interact with them. And what's crazy is the fear that I used to have about showing up, I still have that fear in those moments when first I have the excitement, then it sets in, then I have the fear, and then I address it in the moment. And I'm like, what are you afraid of? And fear is afraid of losing what you got or not getting what you want. And so I'm like, what am I afraid of losing? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm a good person, you know, not getting what I want, you know, validation, the person not loving what I do for them. And I realized that there's 3 kinds of business in this world. You know, I didn't just realize this stuff. Somebody told me this. So there's 3 kinds of business: God's business, my business, and none of my business. So what people think of what I'm doing, all I can do is do my best. And if they don't like it, it's none of my business. So when I started implementing this thinking into the fear when it arises, and I just turn it over, that's the spiritual connection. So there's either an action I can take to better my situation. If there's not an action I can take, I have to turn it over. And if not, fear is paralyzing me. So if I'm showing up in fear to meet Dustin Hoffman and do his hair, I'm not going to do as good. So I have to put the fear aside and say, I'm here to do a service that I know best how to do, and I'm going to do my best job. And if they don't like it, oh well, bummer. And this has worked really well with celebrities, because a lot of people are yes people to celebrities. And
Yeah.
they're like, do you like this belt buckle? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not into that. You know, I think it's a little like 1990s, to be honest, you
Yes.
know? So,
Yes.
so that's how, I was taught
Love that.
how to think, and it's been really helpful.
No, that's an amazing way to look at it. One, you're very self-reflective. You like to look deep inside. And I think that's really important for everyone to do, is to look really, really deep inside. I always talk about two people. I say that everyone's at least two people. The person on the outside. So when people meet me, they think I'm outgoing, talkative, friendly, all of that shit, right? But on the inside, I'm one of the most insecure dudes on the face of the planet. I second guess a lot of things. I go over, I'm like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And so, through this podcast, what I've been able to do is start to bring those two people together. And you need to be able to really look deep inside at both of those people. And for you, you're very, very self-reflective. And I think that is key. That is a key to your success and honesty. That belt buckle, right? That little thing that you said, that belt buckle, when everyone else is saying yes, and you're like, no, that shit looks terrible. People reflected that. People reflect. People will get drawn to that, especially celebrities or anyone, because if you're surrounded by a whole bunch of people saying yes, 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 but then you have that individual that comes up and says, well, it doesn't look that good. Well, they're being honest, and if they can't take that, if the celebrity can't take that, well, like you said, whatever, it is what it is. Next.
Bummer.
Yeah, seriously. But I find that amazing. The first time when you went to go cut Hugh Jackman's hair, that's beyond epic.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Crazy.
Going along this journey and along this path, when you got to the point of opening your shop, what was that? What was that like? How long had you been out? How many years had you had clean at that point?
So I had been working at Chris's for 18 years. For the first 2 years, I was in and out of recovery, and then finally, I got my sobriety date. And so I was working at Chris McMillan in Beverly Hills for the last 16 years. I drive over there from my sleepy beach town. Not so sleepy anymore, but it was back in the day.
Yeah.
But Venice is popping now. And I'm just, I like the ocean. It just is tranquil, and it just grounds me. So I feel super different when I'm at the beach, because I grew up by the beach. And then, I go to Beverly Hills and I have a different hairstylist hat on, you know what I mean? Yeah. So at one point, not at one point, I got super busy, and, I made my name, and I'm confident in these men's haircuts, and I have people that are booking, and I'm noticing that I'm booked solid. And it was a dream of mine to, expand. And I've been expanding over the last 16 years. Like, it just started with me behind the chair, and then I realized my back and everything was hurting. So I'm like, okay, I need to subsidize with a different job. So I found behind the camera work, you know what I mean? Where I'm doing hair and makeup for celebrities, and I get to sit down for a minute and watch my work on camera and make sure nobody's getting sweaty. And then I started the products, and then I was like, okay, well, shoot, am I going to do this? And my buddy owned a tattoo shop, and my other buddy had his meditation studio. And I was like, this is a killer location, because the tattoo shop dudes are all rolling deep with bikes and lowriders. And I have my bikes and lowriders. And I'm like, this is my world. I'm like, if I can tap into this, we can have everything right here, and we can rule Venice and be happy and just hang out and talk bikes and dude land, And I kept telling my buddy who had the meditation studio next to it, I'm like, dude, you can go upstairs and do meditation. You'll be closer to God, And he was like, no, this is my place. And then finally he was like, all right, make me an offer. And I was like, no way, this is getting real. And that's when the fear set in. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Oh my God. And I had my process. And I talked to people, and everybody I was talking to was like, you can do this. And I just went for it. And I've designed a house, and I designed the shop. I did everything, and I enjoyed doing that. So regardless if the business worked, I was just having so much fun designing this killer barbershop, hair salon, skate, surf, coffee, retail shop next to my boys in the tattoo shop with bikes and lowriders out in front. And so I just pushed play and just kept looking forward and doing like I did in the last 16 years, one day at a time. And people started hitting me up. I started putting the build on Instagram, and people were responding, and hairstylists and barbers reached out to me. And this is, I feel like, God working in my life, where I didn't really have to go and hire people. I just started interviewing people that wanted to come work through Instagram, and I was like checking out their work. And I have the most perfect team. They're so amazing. Like, you walk in there, it is the most charming, positive, killer spot with skateboards, surfboards, the best coffee. And, you know, I was taught early on, slow to hire, quick to fire, somebody told me. And, you know, I didn't even have to do that. People who didn't fit took themselves out, and now we're just killing it with shaves, haircuts, and the whole shebang.
Dude, that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. You know, you came to a point at 34 years old, everything just kind of hit the wall, man. And, you know, addiction at that point got the best of you. And then, you know, you get to a point, you're like, enough is enough. And then within, how many years had it been since you had completely got clean to you opening up the shop?
16 years.
So you
actually,
just
it was
opened the
15
shop?
years. 15 years. Sorry. I opened June 1st of last year, and we're in April right now. So May, June. It's almost been a year. I mean, we've had a month and a half hiatus right now.
Yes.
And we're fine. You know, we're getting the small business loans, and we're making it work right now. I have an amazing business partner who is a businessman, and he has a production company. His name's Blake Levy, and he did all of Hillary Clinton's campaigning. So he would go and set up and take down. So I have an amazing business partner that we run everything off each other. It's kind of like good cop, bad cop. And not only that, but it's like the angel and the devil. Like, I can be the devil and he's the angel, because he's so young and he's so politically correct. So it's really a great balance.
I love that. I love it. It's that yin and yang, the balance. But, you know, kind of getting back to my point, it was like, within 15 years, your whole life has changed. It's completely turned around. And now you're on this path of, you know, giving back with, you know, the homeless haircuts, which is just, that's what really, you know, brought me into you. I was like, dude, this guy is doing stuff that is truly amazing. I want to touch base on the future, right? What do you feel the future of hair salons and barbershops and the industry is going to look like? I mean, are people going to be wearing, you know, full face shields and gloves? And you posted that picture of, you know, 1918, the Spanish influenza. And I was actually very surprised. I was like, dude, that guy's fade actually looked pretty good for 1918.
I know, right? Same haircuts.
But,
1918 is going on right now. Hey, quick question, Brock. Should I turn this off and return it on so it's easier to send, or should we just run through it? Because we're at 28 right now.
No, you can just, well, you could press stop and then do it again. You're just going to upload it to the Google Drive.
Yeah. So do you want to keep it going, or you want me to turn it off, turn it back on?
Is it going to shut everything off, or is it just going to pause and go?
It's just a video. So we'll turn it off.
Oh yeah. Just stop it. And then, start again.
Yeah.
And real quick, how much time do you got? Just so I know.
I got time.
Okay, cool. Thanks, bro.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to actually.
Yeah, for sure. Take your time.
All right. You with me?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go.
You ready?
So, yeah.
All right, back to it.
All right. So,
what's the future look like, man?
Well, it looks like what I've been doing for the homeless, basically. You know, I think getting back at it will, what I want to do is I want to be outside doing it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like being outside, but realistically, it could go that route. I don't know. You know, face masks, I think, are going to be a thing for a while, getting close to each other. I think no handshaking and hugging is going to be, you know, minimal to new, you know, integrated. I mean, a hug, there's nothing like a hug. Yeah. So I don't know how long we can live without hugs.
That's
Um,
crazy.
I never really liked the handshake anyways. I'm a fist bump guy, and I'll literally keep it out there for a minute. The guy's like keeping his handshake, and I'll just wait it. I'll wait it out. I've been doing that for years already. I'm like, sorry, bro.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm like, dude, I'm like a sushi chef. Like, we don't handshake. I touch people's faces. You know what I mean? I do makeup, and then the guy has to back down. So it's like, I'll just leave it out there. Sorry, bro. I've been doing that for years. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it'll be
Classic.
like. Or the head nod, man. The head nod's probably what
Yeah.
it's going to be.
Elbows, cool. Elbow
Yeah.
bump. I'm down with whatever. So yeah, it's going to be tricky for a while, but we're ready to get back at it. This has been a really great break for me because I've been running it so hard with 4 jobs, and I'm spending time with my family, which is incredible. My son and we've been bike riding. I got 50 years old. I just had a birthday like 2
Happy
weeks ago.
birthday, man.
Thanks.
You don't look 50.
50, bro. This
You
is
look
what
great,
50
man.
looks like. Thank you. I feel good.
Yes.
So I bought a big ripper, this whole SE bike craze. I don't know if you've seen it, where guys are riding wheelies. So it's a BMX bike that's an oversized BMX bike. And that's what I wanted for my birthday. And then as soon as I bought it, I'm like, I got to get my son one. And then I got to get my nephew one. So they're waiting right now. He was crying because I had to come do this. So we're going to go on a long ride down to the beach. I mean, the beach is closed, but we're going to go near the beach. So I've been spending tons of time with the fam, and been cooking, and it's just it's nice to hit a reset button and to take a minute to see what's really important to me. And I think there's been such a consumer mass abundance. Does that even make sense? I don't even know.
It makes a lot of sense. No, it's major.
Yeah, like
it's so true.
Like the magazines I look at, it's like the diamonds and it's just like, really, is that stuff important? Like, what's important, dude? And what's important has been shown to us in this last month or so. So
it's so true, man. It's like for so long we've been just consuming so much as consumers, and then social media, which I love, right? But it's kind of that yin and yang. It really does push this facade of individuals' lives that look so perfect in these diamond rings and these yachts and these boats and this and that and the other, right?
Yeah.
But when you get back to it, what really matters? Strip away the layers. Family, close friends, the people that are around you. Those are the things that matter. You can have all of these things, these little, things that you see behind me, these tchotchkes and whatever. Take it all away from me, man.
Yeah.
Don't take away my wife. Don't take away my mother. Don't take away, this right here, what we're doing right now, having this conversation. These are the things that matter. And having this reset right now has really, brought it back to its basics. And I know there are tons of people out there struggling. Trust me, I get it. But it has set a pause. And I think in history, right, when they look back at this, I hope that we take, as a society, we take the right foot forward, because we have a real chance. It's like almost like Mother Nature is saying, hey, stop, wait, chill out, people. But time will tell, right? Like it always does. Do we go right back to the way we were, or do we look at things a little bit differently now? And
I think the way that I identify with that is kind of the way that I live my life, as I spoke earlier about contrary action. So it's like I think everything is going to go back to normal if we don't make an effort on a daily basis to remember these times. And it's up to each individual to remember, hey, let's help others. And that's what I've been doing, because if I'm just on cruise control, it's about what motorcycle I can get, or which vacation I can take, or what clothes I can have. And so I think it's going to take an effort, and it's a daily reprieve, upon spiritual
Yes,
maintenance.
it is. It so is. And you should have thrown what new hat you're gonna get, because you always
Yeah.
got the best hats, man.
Yeah. The hats. These hats aren't cheap either. Luckily,
No,
I'm in with the hat maker, and he's been hooking me up over the years.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah.
That's so cool. It's one of the great things about being like a hairstylist or barber is that you get to meet so many people from so
Oh
many
my
different
God.
types
I got a
and so many
guy.
different avenues. Yeah, you got it's like exact. I got a guy. You need to. I got a guy. One thing that you said that stuck out to me, because I've definitely been going through it, and people don't look at it. But as hairdressers or barbers, from the outside, people see us as it's just an easy job. You get in there, cut a little bit of hair, have some conversations, blah 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 blah. But if you get down to the root of it, it takes a lot out of you, physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Ergonomists have studied, hairdressing, and they looked how easy or hard it is on the body. And when they did their study and they completed it, it's astronomical to think that it is just as close as a construction worker. The individuals that go, hairdressers constantly complain, and barbers, back problems, wrist problems, knee problems. Um, do you think there's anything that we can do, as a whole for our industry to help fix that?
I've been dealing with every single ailment you're talking about because of doing hair. I do everything extreme. So in beauty school, they're like, yeah, you don't want to move both fingers. You only move your thumb because you're going to have long-term difficulties. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm invincible. I've gotten 2 surgeries in my hand from cutting hair, trigger finger, both of them locked up. I have both elbows. I just got surgery on my elbow from cutting hair. My back for the last 14 years. And I found that, anything in excess, will take you down. So I do hair. I skip a day in between.
Yeah.
All right. I used to stand from 9 to 6 and try and cram everybody in to make as much money. And I forget who it was that I heard this, but it's like us humans, what we're constantly doing is trying to make as much money so we can be happy. And then what we do is we're trying to spend our money on getting our health back. So
Yes.
it's such a fucked up thought process
Oxymoron.
that we have. Yeah. So what I did is I was like, I had to listen to my body, and I was like, I have to skip a day. I can only work for like 4 or 5 hours. So I do a haircut every half an hour. And then I was like, okay, I can only work 3 days a week because it would hurt too much standing after doing it for 30 years. So and then I found that I could branch off and start doing some production work. And so that was hair and makeup, men's grooming. And I would get somebody ready, and I would sit behind the monitor. And then the other thing was photo shoots, which I love the photo shoot. And then the service work, and then the products that I'm doing, and now the hair salon where other people are working and I'm making money, and now the foundation, which is probably going to be the end game for me. And I spoke about this earlier. It's like I'm trying to get back to just surfing and serving.
Yes.
Surf and serve, because that's when I feel
I
the
love that.
best. So we started the Men's Groomer Foundation. You can go to the mensgroomer.com and check out everything we're doing. We have been jumping through hoops to get a 501c3. We're almost there. We take donations on Venmo, the Men's Groomer Foundation on Venmo. And this money, what it does is it goes to help fund our events that we throw. And most of all, it helps keep a bed open at the same structure, sober living, that I went through, the year program.
Wow.
And I use the money, and we channel it into the recovery centers that I think has a structure that actually works. And what it is a year program. 6 months, the guys don't work. At 6 months, they go out and they work, or when they're ready, and then they move out with 2 other guys, and they have to continue to do what they did in this whole year. And that process has a really good success rate. So that's what the foundation's all about, and we're gonna keep growing it. We're gonna keep opening more housing for more homeless addicts, and that's what I want to work on. moving
Love
forward.
that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And you said, for ones that the money goes to, places that of your choice, right?
Oh yeah.
Because as addicts, right, we both know there are tons of places out there that just they
Shady.
suck, shady, they suck. It does not work. What I like about what you
Scandalous.
shared, exactly, exactly. But what you just shared, there builds a sense of accountability, getting out with those two other individuals still in that program. It makes so much sense. For people listening, can you one more time just say, and I'll put it in the notes, where can they, donate to, the Men's Groomer Foundation?
Yeah. So the Men's Groomer Foundation, we are on Venmo. If you want to make donation, you just tap on the Men's Groomer. It's all one word, and foundation will pop up. You can bypass the 4 digits and just hit underneath where it says donate anyways. You can look at themensgroomer.com and see what our foundation does and what it's about. And we constantly go out onto the street and we do haircuts, and all hairstylists, estheticians, massage therapists, doctors, dentists, attorneys are showing up, and we're just trying to provide resources for people on the street. And my avenue is the addiction. So I'm out there head on with the disease, and I'm going eye to eye with people. And you can look at the Men's Groomer on Instagram, and you can see my videos where I just rip the mask off of people when we're out on the street and going, dude, you're going to die. You're going to end up in jail.
Yes.
Seriously, you got way more to offer yourself and others. Like, come on, wake up. I'll be back in 30 days for another haircut, and I'll check in on you. Are you ready to go? Do you want to get sober? And that's what the Men's Groomer Foundation is about. And one more thing is, in these tough times, we went out on Easter. We filled up baskets for people, and 6 feet drops from homeless people looked eye to eye and said, hey, happy Easter. Here's some hand sanitizer. Here's a mask. Here's some food. Here's some socks. Here's a chocolate Easter bunny and a piece of matzah. And and that was that. So we're going back out.
I love it.
Yeah. So check it out. In like a week or so, if you want to donate, I don't know when this podcast is going to run, but the Men's Groomer on Instagram, and I'm going to post it up. And Chrome Hearts has donated masks. Okay. Paul Mitchell has donated hand sanitizers, and Dogtown has donated socks. And I got Domino's Pizza who donated pizza. And I have my silk screener, who is also, they have these bags that they made for us that we're going to print messages on. And we're just going to go out and pass out these bags here in the next week or two. So that's our next little thing.
I absolutely love that. And if there's anything that I can do to help, man, I'll come out there, and support you guys. I absolutely, like, what you're doing is so important. And after this, after this podcast, I want to talk to you because I think there's some things, donations that I could get sent your way if you guys need it.
Absolutely.
To help out for the cause.
It'll go a long way. I mean, I got a story I haven't revealed, but some girl just sent me an email that said that she got a haircut and she basically was on the streets, and now she is thriving with her family. And she sent me photos before and afters, and I haven't released this yet. You're the first to hear about it, but wow, what an amazing message from her. And this is, I always say, I believe a haircut can change somebody's life. This event that we did in Venice, I think it was 3 years ago, changed somebody's life. And that's what it's about. Yeah.
My
insane.
gosh. Look at that.
Insane.
Look at that. Look at that. That is incredible. A haircut can't change someone's life, man. It's like, after you give someone a good haircut and they look in the mirror and they always give kind of those duck lips, like the way that it makes the individual feel. Sassoon said, if I believe it's Sassoon, you look good, you feel good, right? And obviously it's not going to change everything. That's not what we're saying here, but it is a step in the right direction. It opens that door. And then with that door open, there's so many opportunities. And for you to get out there and lay it down real to these individuals, that's what we want. That's what we don't want this. Like I remember back in high school, they'd have like, don't do drugs, just say no, right? in my opinion, those things don't work. We have to be real and honest about what is going on. If you sugarcoat it, it's not going to change anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you talked about the dual personality that you have. You know, it's like
Yes.
if I make somebody feel good on the outside, it really starts making the other person on the inside take a look at it and rise to the occasion.
100%, 100%. I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah.
We talked briefly about the kind of bringing it back, the barber truck. How did that even stem? Like, I see the pictures; it looks freaking incredible, but I want to know more about it.
Yeah. So a couple of guys that were running big businesses, they had the idea, and they have the right idea. And what it is it's a business. And they came to me and they said, we want you to design this truck. And we started, and immediately I got in there and I was like, I need this much room. I need it to be cool, and I need the music to be good. And it's gotta be open and light. Like, those are the important things that I contributed. And then they brought in this killer designer, and then they have leads because they're working in the industry, and they are talking to HR departments. And when we get back into the workplace, we're going to probably roll this truck out first, because we can come to you and we can go outside. I'm going to set up outside stations. And this truck is a business that lives at Google, YouTube, and, all of, on the weekends, the street fair, and then the Coachella events. And then they let me take it out to go do what I'm doing with the foundation. So it'll be helping people. And, our goal is to, launch 5 here in LA, 5 in San Francisco, and then go all around the US with these.
I love that. I think that's. I think it's so cool, especially like the design of all of it. And
Yeah.
you can just put it anywhere. You can literally take it anywhere and offer quality experience. For the customers, or the people that need it most. Before this, had you already come out with your product line? When did the men's groomer product line start to come to fruition?
Yeah. So I made this product about 5 years ago. I think it's been about that long, maybe not that long. But what happened was I knew what products I liked, and I use a hair paste every day on everybody pretty much. And I style it with dry hair. And so I'll cut somebody's hair, I'll dry it, and then I throw the paste in and I mess it up. And I just knew exactly what I wanted. So I worked with a chemist here locally in Southern California. All our products are made here in the US. And
Love that.
so, a lot of the chemists, they're not hairstylists. So you're like, make it less sticky. And they send it back. And it's like pretty much just a little less sticky. So I got on the phone and I was like, bro, check it out. Don't take a little tiny bit. Like, get in there, do a whole scoop, put it on your hands, and then smush it all over the mirror. And tell me if it looks like this other product that I love that's a little too sticky. And I just started doing this back and forth with the chemist, and it was 13 formulations to get this paste right. And then it just kind of sat for a little bit, and I had some clients going, dude, I'm out of that paste. Like, I need more. And there's a cult following for this paste. And I use it on everybody. And then I was like, this whole barber craze started, and I was like, okay, so we got to make a pomade. I know what people like. They like it to be water-based, and it's got to be super strong hold, where it'll slick down a curly Kramer fro, or it'll get rid of your calyx. And so I made this pomade, and that was our second product. And then I was like, let's just keep going. So I've developed 8 other products, shampoo, conditioner. What I did with the shampoo and the conditioner is I just shopped it around the Chris McMillan Salon and the other salons in Beverly Hills. And I'm like, what's your favorite shampoo? And so I made it based on that. And, all of the products have my signature scent, which smell like sex wax, and people think sex wax is like a sex thing, but it's not. It's actually a surf wax. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's that tropical, beachy coconut smell. Got a helicopter. It's in the hood here in Venice, so something's going
I can't
down.
even
But
hear it.
the Get Over, anyways, yeah, it's my favorite sex wax, surf wax scent, and shampoo's amazing. The conditioner, and the other thing is it's affordable price. So they're salon products, high quality products for a low, box CVS, Walgreens price. And you can order those on Amazon. We're on Amazon, and it's crazy. It's like, I don't know how to get into Amazon. And I just, called on a guy, one of my clients, and I was like, hey, and then they knew somebody. And that's how I live my life. I delegate what I don't know, and I ask for help, and things keep happening. So
yes,
it's been incredible. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So they can go on Amazon to find it. Can they go on the mensgroomer.com and find it as well?
And
awesome.
all products that are sold, part of the proceeds goes to help get people off the streets and off drugs and alcohol.
Man, I love that. I'm gonna get some right after we get off this call, dude. Like,
that'd be good.
Anything that
it looks like you got like a little shine to it. So you got a
I normally don't with my hair. I normally use, because I'm gonna get the wax. But I hadn't had my hair done before the podcast, and I just grabbed some pomade and I just threw it in. But I normally use something like a dry wax and whatever.
So
but I'll
that
for sure.
The paste you're gonna love, because it's like matte, and it's not. What's great about it is it doesn't lock your hair down, so it doesn't dry stiff, and that's really important to be able to move your hair around. Like if it goes flat in an hour, you see yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I look frumpy, and then you just move it around and it's back up. So that's what the paste does.
I keep on looking at the camera and I'm like, damn, dude, I hate my hair right now. Because
no way, bro. You look good.
Thanks, man.
You look good,
Thanks.
and I love those glasses. Those are killer. Let me see. Give me a profile on those. Let's see the profile. Those are tight. I love those. I'm gonna have to go get some of those.
Tom Ford, baby. Tom Ford.
Yeah. And you got your beard trimmed up.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see the profile on the beard. Turn to the left. Ooh, I want to trim that thing up for you when we get back at it.
Square
it up a little bit.
Yes, please do. Yeah. Please do. I'll come by and visit you for sure.
Absolutely.
As we start to wrap this up, man, is there anything that you want to say? I've been asking questions. Is there anything that you want to say to the people?
Well, I want to ask this really important question, Brock. How you doing?
It's a really good question. Wow. Well, all right, man. That's a great question. I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I personally am blessed to be working for a company called Ergo Styling Tools. We make professional hairstyling tools. And although business has slowed down, I'm fortunate to have a job. My wife, she's a union makeup artist, so she has no work right now. She was just working on a film called The Prom with James Corden, and I see you working with him as well. And so all that stopped. So she's on unemployment, but it's rough. It's tough, but I am keeping my head up. I am really pushing these podcasts, talking with people from all walks of life, individuals that were diagnosed with COVID-19, doctors, people like yourself, artists, just so many different levels. And this definitely brings me a lot of happiness. But I feel for a lot of people out there, but I'm very hopeful. And, in that sense, I'm human. I have good days, I have bad days, but I continue to push forward. And, I'm blessed to do what I love. And I think that's most important.
Yeah, that's great.
And be surrounded by good people. Thank you for asking that question, man.
Yeah, it's crazy because we don't ask for help. So if I was going to say something, I was like, you know what? Step outside of your boundaries, people, and, take the leap of faith and start asking for help. I don't know how or what that looks like. Maybe it's a note. Maybe it's something small. A lot of the times people put up GoFundMes, or they'll give you this whole spiel about how bad off they are, and you just overglance that. I mean, if somebody says, hey, can you get me a pizza or something, on social media, like I would drive and go deliver somebody a pizza myself, but when it becomes so big, so try and focus on what we need and more than what we want. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, I would love to help some people. And I know, it came on that the school system put on this thing where you can donate. I saw that on the news, and I donated some money, and I mean, one person at a time is good enough, so if you can help your neighbor, please just do that. And I guarantee you'll feel amazing.
100%. We're all in this together, man. But you're so right. What you're saying, like when a person writes a 10-page essay compared to someone saying, hey, I'm hungry, I'd like to get a pizza. I would drive 10 miles to just get to that person, 100 miles.
Yeah.
It's the little things, right? And, if there's anything that I can do to help you out, Jason, with the Men's Groomer, the foundation, whatever it is, haircutting for the homeless, whatever it is.
All of it.
Please,
we're going to do it all together. We're doing it.
I love that.
So don't be afraid to hit me up, email me, text me, DM me. I don't care. If you got an idea, let's see if we can make it happen to help out this world.
Yes, absolutely. 100%, man. We'll be talking very soon.
Right,
and where can people, just once again, I'll put it in the notes, but where can people find all of your amazing stuff? Instagram, website, all of that.
Real simple. One word, The Men's Groomer. If you Google it, you can find it all. TheMen'sGroomer.com, The Men's Groomer on Venmo to donate to the foundation, and The Men's Groomer Instagram. The Men's Groomer, bro. Pitch it however you serve it up.
Yes,
there it is.
Yes. Jason.
Smack it, flip it, rub it down. Oh, no.
Rub it down. Man, thank you so very much. Everyone, have a fantastic evening, day, night, wherever the heck you are. Thank you so much for listening to Back Your Story. Have a good night. Peace out. Bye.